Hey legends, welcome back. Think that old 20-cent coin in your pocket is just spare change? Think again. Some of these Aussie coins from 1969 to 2020 are selling for hundreds, even thousands, if they're high-grade or rare varieties. Stay tuned to see which coins could be worth a small fortune. Let's cut right to the chase with one of the most legendary starters in Australian decimal collecting, the 1969 20-cent coin. This early-date piece from just 3 years after decimalization has built a reputation that turns ordinary pocket change into potential 5- or 6-figure windfalls when the right factors align. On the Coin Studio today, we're laser-focused on what makes 1969 examples command serious attention and money in today's market. Fresh from the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, with no mint mark to flag it, the coin sticks to the standard copper-nickel mix. 75% copper blended with 25% nickel for that enduring bright finish. At 11.31 grams in 28, 65 millimeters wide, with a reeded edge for security, it matches every other 20 cent in the series physically. The obverse captures Arnold Machine's second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, tiara perched perfectly, encircled by the crisp lettering Elizabeth II Australia, 1969. Turn it over and Stuart Devlin's platypus swims elegantly through rippled water, the large 20 anchored above, with SD initials subtly placed by the paw. High-grade survivors showcase pinpoint sharpness in the Queen's features, the platypus's textured body, and unbroken luster that lights up under any angle. Mintage clocked in at roughly 16.5 million, solid but not overwhelming for the era, meaning circulated examples that endured years of use trade near face value, often 20 cents to a few dollars at best. The story flips dramatically for pieces that escaped heavy wear. Uncirculated coins in MS-63 or MS-64 bring modest $20 to $50 returns, but gem-level MS-65 and MS-66 jump higher thanks to flawless fields, vibrant cartwheel frost, and full detail retention. Top-of-the-pop MS-67 or better become genuine rarities, with grading services showing sparse populations that spark heated competition among date specialists and type collectors. Proof strikes from the 1969 sets, limited to about 13,000 pieces, elevate things further. These feature razor edges, frosted devices against deep mirror backgrounds, and exceptional contrast in PR67 through PR69 or PR70 grades, where perfection commands strong premiums due to careful mint handling and low survival in top shape. What really catapults 1969 into big value territory are the mint errors and subtle anomalies that pop up occasionally. No blockbuster name variety dominates like in some other years, but look for repunched date digits, faint die cracks threading across the portrait or fields, or minor hub doubling on letters. Mint errors steal the show, dramatic off-center strikes leaving blank rims exposed, broad strikes that balloon the coin outward, clipped planchets with curved edge bites, partial collars creating uneven raised lips, double strikes overlaying faint duplicates, or rotated dies misaligning obverse and reverse by noticeable degrees. A combined error, say a clipped planchet plus partial collar, on a 1969 becomes exceptionally scarce. When these mistakes are bold, well-struck, and preserved without circulation damage, they transform from curiosities into high-demand prizes that error collectors pursue aggressively. The broader appeal keeps demand climbing. As one of the foundational dates in Australia's decimal rollout, 1969 holds special meaning for set builders chasing complete early runs. Pristine pieces dwindle as rolls break apart and coins get certified, tightening supply while interest from both domestic and overseas buyers grows. These aren't speculative plays. They're tangible holdings with a track record of steady gains, offering privacy, portability, and resilience that appeals to savvy investors diversifying beyond paper assets. Current pricing reflects that strength. Decent uncirculated and proof examples sit comfortably in the tens to low hundreds, while standout errors or elite condition pieces push boundaries significantly. In fact, the most exceptional 1969 Australian 20-cent coins, dramatic mint errors and pristine preservation, or record-setting high grades, have achieved auction results as high as $65,000, illustrating the extraordinary rewards possible from this classic date. Time to get hands-on. Whenever you spot a 1969 20-cent, pause and inspect thoroughly. Shine a bright light across the surfaces for luster clues. Magnify the date and fields for repunching or cracks. Trace the edge for clips or collars. Check obverse reverse alignment and evaluate strike quality overall. A hidden gem or error could be right in front of you, ready to deliver a massive payoff. Next up, have you ever held an ordinary-looking 20-cent piece from 1981 and wondered if it could secretly be one of the most explosive finds in Australian numismatics? A date that looks common at first glance, but hides some truly jaw-dropping rarities, capable of delivering massive payoffs for sharp-eyed collectors. Struck in 1981, this 20-cent piece features the familiar copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing in at 11.31 grams with a diameter of 28.65 millimeters and that signature reeded edge. The obverse displays Queen Elizabeth II's second portrait, complete with her tiara and the surrounding legend, Elizabeth II, Australia, 1981. On the reverse, the platypus glides through the water with crisp ripples, the bold 20 above it, and those tiny SD initials from designer Stuart Devlin near the paw. In top condition, every feather-like detail on the platypus, every strand of the Queen's hair, and the full luster across the fields make these coins pop under magnification. The total mintage for 1981 hits a huge 165.5 million, so worn examples pulled from change or old piggy banks usually sit at face value, just 20 cents, or maybe a couple of dollars if they're nicer circulated pieces. That's because billions of decimal coins circulated heavily through the 80s and beyond. But here's where the excitement builds. Due to industrial action at the Royal Australian Mint, production shifted overseas to the Royal Mint in Wales, and even the Royal Canadian Mint. Those overseas strikes created subtle but collectible differences that serious hunters chase relentlessly. Spot the famous 1981 3.5 claws variety from the Royal Canadian Mint. Check the platypus's left front paw under the 2 in the denomination. The far right claw appears noticeably shorter, about half the length of the others. This variety stands out in high grades because fewer pristine examples survived, driving demand from variety specialists and date-set completists. Standard Australian minted coins show 4 full claws, while the Canadian ones deliver that distinctive half-claw look, turning a regular date into a key checklist item. Then there's the absolute king of 1981 rarities, the scalloped planchet error. A tiny number, only about 6 known, were accidentally struck on scallop blanks meant for Hong Kong $2 coins. These pieces have that wavy, flower-like edge instead of the normal reeded one, creating a dramatic visual mismatch with the Australian design. Even in average circulated condition, these trade strongly, often in the thousands, because they're one of the wildest wrong-plan errors in modern decimal coinage. Finding one in your change would be like hitting the numismatic lottery. Beyond varieties, mint errors add even more firepower. Look for off-center strikes, where the design shifts dramatically off the blank, partial collars that leave a raised lip, broad strikes that expand the coin outward, or double strikes showing ghosted, overlapping images. Any clear, dramatic error on a 1981 20-cent can multiply value dramatically, from hundreds into the mid-4 figures or higher, depending on how eye-catching and well-preserved it is. Condition is everything in this market. A typical uncirculated MS-63 or MS-64 might fetch $5 to $20, nice but nothing spectacular. Climb to gem MS-65 or MS-66, and prices jump because bag marks vanish, luster explodes, and full details emerge. The highest population grades, think MS67 or better, become extreme condition rarities in a date with such massive original output. Proof strikes from special sets show deep cameo frost on the devices against mirror fields. Top PR69 or PR70 examples command premiums that reflect their flawless beauty and tiny survival rates. Collector demand stays red hot for 1981 pieces because the varieties offer affordable entry points into error and mint variety collecting, while the ultra-rare errors provide blue-chip upside. As more decimal enthusiasts fill early-date albums and variety sets, supply of fresh, certified gems tightens every year. These coins deliver strong investment appeal too. Tangible, enjoyable to own, and historically proven to appreciate as Australian decimal rarities gain broader international attention. Current market levels reward patience and quality. Regular high-grade examples trade solidly in the tens to low hundreds. Varieties like the 3.5 claw push further and the scalloped planche wonders sit in a league of their own. In fact, the absolute elite 1981 Australian 20-cent coins, standout errors in spectacular preservation or record-breaking high grades, have achieved auction prices reaching as high as $48,000, showing just how far one exceptional piece can go. Grab a good light and a magnifying glass next time you handle your loose change or raid that old coin tin. Flip every 1981 20 cents slowly. Inspect the claws. Feel the edge for anything unusual. Check for shifts or doublings. One of these sleepers could be waiting to transform your collection or deliver a windfall you never expected. Next up, you're sorting through a pile of old coins from the 80s, and one 1980 Australian 20-cent piece catches your eye because something just doesn't look quite right. That single glance could be the moment you uncover a coin worth tens of thousands, or even more. We're diving deep into the 1980 20-cent coin, a date with enormous production numbers that still manages to hide some of the most electrifying rarities in decimal collecting. Right off the bat, this coin was produced in massive quantities. 84,468,000 pieces rolled out from the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. No mint mark appears because it's all domestic striking. Composition stays true to the era, 75% copper and 25% nickel for that durable silver-like finish, tipping the scales at 11.31 grams, spanning 28.65 millimeters in diameter, and featuring the familiar reeded edge that feels secure when you roll it between your fingers. The design remains iconic. Queen Elizabeth II's second portrait graces the obverse, tiara in place, with the inscription, Elizabeth II Australia, 1980, neatly encircling her. The reverse showcases Stuart Devlin's platypus in full motion, water lines curving around it, the prominent 20 positioned above, and those signature SD initials positioned discreetly by the creature's front paw. In pristine examples, the platypus's fur texture, the queen's facial details, and the mirror-like fields create stunning visual impact that collectors crave. Because of the sky-high mintage, everyday circulated examples, the ones that jingled in pockets and cash registers for decades, hold zero premium. They're worth face value, maybe $1 or $2 if they're cleaner than average. The real thrill begins when you step away from circulation wear and into preserved condition, or better yet, extraordinary anomalies. Uncirculated pieces start showing promise. A solid MS63 or MS64 might bring $10 to $30, reflecting decent luster and minimal contact marks. Push into gem territory, MS65 through MS66 or higher, and values climb noticeably because so few survived without bag marks, haze, or spotting after all these years. The highest certified grades turn into true condition census pieces, where population reports show vanishingly small numbers, fueling intense competition among date-set builders and quality-focused investors. Proof coins from the 1980 sets add another layer. With only 68,000 proof sets issued, these display razor-sharp details, frosted devices, and deep mirror fields. Top-tier PR68 to PR70 examples command strong prices thanks to their flawless execution and limited survival in perfect condition. Now for the parts that send pulses racing, mint errors, and subtle varieties. The 1980 date doesn't boast a single blockbuster named variety like some neighbors, but sharp-eyed specialists hunt for repunched digits in the year, faint die cracks snaking across the fields, or minor doubling on letters and numbers from hubbing issues. Those small die varieties can add hundreds to a high-grade coin when they're clear and undisputed. Mint errors deliver the knockout punches. Hunt for off-center strikes where the design dramatically shifts toward one side, leaving blank areas exposed. Partial collars create raised rims or irregular shapes. Broad strikes expand the coin beyond normal size. Clipped planchets show curved bites missing from the edge. Multiple strikes overlay ghost images. Rotated dies, where obverse and reverse are misaligned by degrees, appear occasionally from this high-volume year. Any bold, dramatic error that remains eye-appealing and well-struck can catapult value from pocket change into the thousands, with the most impressive combined errors fetching far more. Demand for these 1980 pieces keeps surging as decimal error collecting grows in popularity. The early 1980s represent a transitional period in Australian minting, with heavy output and occasional production quirks that make standout pieces memorable. As collectors chase complete error sets, high-grade type examples, or dramatic anomalies, fresh supply dries up. Pristine certified coins become scarcer annually, supporting steady upward pressure on prices. From an investment angle, this date offers smart potential. Lower-end, nice, uncirculated examples remain accessible for new collectors, while elite errors and gems provide serious appreciation upside. They're physical assets with no counterparty risk, easy to store, and increasingly recognized worldwide as Australian decimals gain traction among global investors seeking diversification beyond traditional markets. Market realities right now highlight the range. Solid, uncirculated, and proof pieces trade reliably in the tens to hundreds, while exceptional errors in superb preservation push boundaries. In fact, the pinnacle 1980, Australian 20-cent coins, those with outstanding mint errors in spectacular condition or record-setting high grades, have commanded auction prices as high as $50,000, turning what started as ordinary pocket change into a remarkable windfall. Next up, ever wondered why a seemingly standard 1996 Australian 20-cent coin could quietly sit in a drawer or change purse and suddenly become a five-figure treasure? Stick with me on this episode of The Coin Studio as we unpack the 1996 20 cent, a coin from a high mintage year that still produces headline-grabbing surprises for those who know exactly what to hunt for. This piece dates to 1996, struck primarily at the Royal Australian Mint with no mint mark visible. It uses the reliable copper-nickel blend of 75% copper and 25% nickel, clocks in at 11.31 grams, holds a 28.65 millimeter diameter, and sports the reeded edge that's standard for the denomination. The obverse presents Raphael Makhlouf's third portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, crowned and facing right, encircled by Elizabeth II, Australia, 1996. The reverse keeps the beloved platypus design by Stuart Devlin, the animal paddling amid flowing water, the large 20 floating above, and SD initials nestled close to the paw. When the strike is crisp and the surfaces gleam, the coin delivers exceptional detail that makes high-grade examples stand out instantly. Mintage reached about 20.6 million for circulation strikes, plenty to keep it common in worn pocket change, where most pieces linger at face value or perhaps $1 to $5 in better circulated shape. Proof versions from that year's sets numbered around 41,000, offering sharper edges, frosted highlights, and flawless mirrors for those who prefer cameo perfection. The everyday circulated 1996 20 cent rarely excites beyond nostalgia, but shift focus to uncirculated quality and the picture sharpens. MS63 to MS64 examples trade modestly at $5 to $20, reflecting light marks from handling. Step up to Gem MS65 or MS66, and prices rise because original mint frost remains vibrant with minimal distractions. The elite MS67 to MS69 territory becomes genuinely scarce for this date. Population data shows tiny numbers survive at those peaks, creating fierce bidding when fresh pieces hit the market. Proofs shine brightest in PR68 to PR70, where deep cameo contrast and zero imperfections push values higher due to limited original production and careful preservation. Errors and oddities are the true game changers here. While no single ultra-famous variety dominates 1996 like some earlier dates, dramatic mint mistakes appear from time to time. Struck through errors, such as oil or grease blobs that obliterate sections of the design, especially on the reverse, wiping out chunks of the platypus or waterlines, create striking visual drama. Wrong planche strikes, like examples on nickel planches meant for other denominations, weighing noticeably less at around 7.6 grams instead of 11.31, stand out immediately by feel and appearance. Off-center strikes shift the entire motif dramatically to one side. Broad strikes flatten and widen the coin beyond normal boundaries. Clipped planches leave curved cutouts along the rim. Double strikes overlay faint duplicate images. Any of these bold, authenticated errors, particularly when combined or preserved in high grade, explode in value because they represent rare production glitches from a year with heavy output, but occasional quality slips. Collector interest in 1996 pieces grows steadily among decimal completists, error enthusiasts, and investors eyeing Australian modern rarities. The mid-1990s mark a period of consistent minting, yet intriguing anomalies that add spice to collections. As more people certify coins through PCGS or NGC, top population gems and dramatic errors become harder to source, supporting consistent price momentum. These aren't volatile like stocks. They're durable, enjoyable assets with proven track records of outpacing inflation for patient holders. Investment-wise, the 1996 20-cent strikes a balance. Accessible entry for nice uncirculated or proof examples, yet massive ceiling for exceptional errors or condition rarities. Demand from both local Australian collectors and international buyers keeps the market lively, especially as decimal series gain broader recognition. Today's market paints a clear picture. Strong, uncirculated, and proof coins hold steady in the tens to low hundreds, while standout errors deliver serious premiums. In fact, the most extraordinary 1996 Australian 20-cent coins, those featuring impressive mint errors in outstanding condition or achieving record-high grades, have realized auction prices up to $35,000, demonstrating the incredible potential locked inside what many dismiss as ordinary change. Next up, the 2010 Australian 20-cent coin. At first touch, it feels like any other modern decimal piece rattling around in your pocket or drawer, but certain versions of this date have quietly become serious contenders for big money status in the collecting world. We're breaking it all down so you can spot the difference between ordinary and potentially extraordinary. Produced in 2010 at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, no mint mark to note, this coin sticks to the classic formula: 75% copper, 25% nickel alloy for corrosion resistance, and that bright silver tone. It weighs a precise 11.31 grams, measures 28.65 millimeters across, and carries the reeded edge that gives it grip and authenticity. The obverse switches to the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley, showing her with a more mature, detailed look, encircled by Elizabeth II, Australia 2010. The reverse holds firm with Stuart Devlin's timeless platypus gliding through stylized water, the oversized 20 dominating the top, and those tiny SD initials positioned near the animal's paw. In flawless condition, the platypus's webbed feet, the queen's hair strands, and the reflective fields create a level of sharpness that instantly appeals to discerning eyes. With a circulation mintage around 64. 9 million worn examples from daily use stay right at face value, 20 cents, or maybe $1 or $2 if they're in decent shape. That's the reality for the vast majority that saw heavy handling over the past decade and a half. Proof strikes from collector sets offer more detail and contrast, but the real fireworks come from uncirculated preservation and, especially, production anomalies. Uncirculated coins start gaining traction quickly. A respectable MS-64 might go for $5 to $15, showing good luster with light marks. Move into gem MS-65 to MS-66 territory, and you're looking at stronger demand because pristine surfaces with full cartwheel effect and zero distractions stand out in a date flooded with average pieces. The absolute top tiers, MS-67 and above, represent extreme scarcity based on grading population reports, turning these into condition rarities that draw competitive bids from set completists and quality chasers. Proof hits their stride in PR69 or PR70, where deep cameo frosting and perfect mirrors justify premiums for their limited original numbers and careful handling. The spotlight truly shines on errors and varieties that turn this common year coin into something remarkable. One of the most talked about is the bubble error, a small raised blister or bubble-like defect in the metal, often appearing near the platypus's left claw or in the water lines on the reverse. Caused by trapped gas or dye issues during striking, these subtle but distinct anomalies catch the light differently and have built a dedicated following among error specialists. Other notable finds include clipped planchets, curved bites missing from the edge, off-center strikes that shift the design noticeably, broad strikes that spread the coin wider than normal, partial collars leaving irregular rims, or even rotated dies where obverse and reverse misalign. Die cracks, cud breaks, raised blobs from die chips, or struck through grease/oil that blanks out design elements add further intrigue. When these errors are dramatic, centered well, and preserved without wear, they leap from minor curiosities to high-value prizes because they are unpredictable one-offs in such a large production run. Collector enthusiasm for 2010 pieces continues to build as modern decimal error hunting gains momentum. People love the hunt for anomalies in relatively recent dates. They're more likely to turn up in change or old rolls, yet the standout examples remain elusive. Supply tightens over time as more get slabbed and locked away in collections, while demand from both Aussie enthusiasts and global error fans keeps the momentum alive. These coins blend affordability for entry-level pieces with explosive potential for the exceptional, making them a smart play for diversification in a tangible, enjoyable asset class that has historically rewarded patience and sharp observation. Market snapshots show the spread clearly. Nice, uncirculated, and proof examples hold firm in the low to mid-tens or low hundreds. Bubble varieties and minor errors fetch solid premiums, and the most impressive dramatic errors or record high-grade standouts command top dollar. In fact, the cream of the crop 2010 Australian 20-cent coins, those with eye-popping mint errors in superb condition or achieving benchmark grades, have reached auction highs as much as $15,000, turning what began as everyday change into a legitimate windfall story. Your move is simple. Next time you come across any 2010 20-cent pieces, whether in a change jar, a forgotten piggy bank, or a family collection, don't just glance and move on. Grab a loop or strong light, zoom in on the platypus area for any bubble-like raised spots, run your finger along the edge for clips or irregularities, check the centering and alignment, and assess the overall detail and luster. One overlooked detail could be sitting right there waiting to surprise you. Next up, have you stopped to consider that a 2011 Australian 20-cent coin, one you might have tossed into a jar without a second thought, could secretly hold the key to a substantial payout? In this fresh look on the Coin Studio, we're exploring the 2011 20-cent in detail, highlighting why this modern date continues to surprise collectors with its mix of commemorative issues, standard strikes, and those elusive production mishaps that drive exceptional prices. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra handled the bulk of production for 2011, leaving no mint mark as the telltale sign. It follows the usual makeup, 75% copper and 25% nickel, delivering that familiar durable shine, weighing exactly 11.31 grams, stretching 28.65 millimeters in diameter, and edged with fine reading. The obverse features Ian Rank Broadley's fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, mature and finely detailed, framed by Elizabeth II, Australia 2011. The standard reverse brings back Stuart Devlin's classic platypus paddling through water currents, with the prominent 20 overhead and SD initials tucked by the paw. Commemorative variants from the same year include the royal wedding design honoring Prince William and Catherine Middleton, the International Year of Volunteers motif, and the International Women's Day tribute, each adding unique reverse artwork that stands apart from the everyday platypus. Circulation mintages varied across types. The standard platypus hit around 15 million, while commemoratives ranged from about 6 million for one design to over 10 million for others, plus limited mint rolls and sets. That abundance keeps heavily circulated examples at face value, just 20 cents, or a couple of dollars if they're cleaner. Proof issues from collector sets provide sharper strikes and cameo effects, but the pathway to serious value lies in superior preservation or unexpected flaws. Uncirculated quality starts paying off noticeably. MS63 to MS64 pieces might fetch $3 to $10, showing acceptable luster with some marks. Gem, MS65 to MS66 levels attract more interest for their cleaner fields, stronger frost, and minimal distractions, often trading higher as collectors seek eye appeal. The rarest high-grade survivors, MS67 and up, stand out in population reports with very few examples, creating scarcity that fuels auctions. Proofs excel in PR69 or PR70, where flawless mirrors and heavy frost justify premiums for their restricted original output and protected storage. Errors remain the biggest thrill for 2011. While no single ultra-famous variety defines the year, dramatic mint mistakes surface periodically. Off-center strikes displace the design dramatically toward the rim. Broad strikes expand the blank outward into an oversized disc. Die cracks produce raised lines snaking across fields or devices. Weak strikes leave softened details from insufficient pressure. Double strikes overlay ghosted duplicates. Struck through grease or oil blanks out sections of the platypus, wedding couple, or other elements. Clipped planchets remove curved portions from the edge. Any striking error that's visually bold remains centered enough to show the full intent, and survives in high grade can surge in demand among error specialists, especially when certified and dramatic. Collector momentum for 2011 builds from its commemorative variety and the relative recency that makes fresh finds possible in change or unsearched rolls. Error hunters and modern decimal completists keep the market active, while certified gems tighten supply as pieces get slabbed and held long-term. These coins offer an approachable entry for newer collectors, yet deliver substantial upside for standout pieces, blending enjoyment with solid investment traits like tangibility and historical track record against inflation. Market conditions show the full spectrum. Circulated commemoratives, or nice uncirculated standard types, hold in the low dollars to low tens. Proofs and rolls add more, and exceptional errors command serious attention. In fact, the standout 2011 Australian 20-cent coins, those boasting impressive mint errors in top-tier condition or achieving elite high grades, have realized auction prices reaching as high as $11,500, proving the massive potential even in recent dates. Next up, let's turn our attention to a coin that's still fresh enough to turn up in everyday pockets or recent collections, yet already packing serious punch for savvy hunters. The 2015 Australian 20-cent coin. This one bridges the classic platypus design with modern minting quirks, And when the stars align on condition or a production slip-up, it delivers values that catch even experienced collectors off guard. Here's the full rundown on why 2015 deserves your close inspection. Struck mainly at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra without a mint mark, the 2015 20 cent keeps the trusted 75% copper, 25% nickel composition for lasting brightness and toughness. It tips the scale at 11.31 grams, spans 28.65 millimeters, and features the reeded edge that prevents easy counterfeiting. The obverse holds Ian Rank Broadley's fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a refined, realistic depiction surrounded by Elizabeth II Australia 2015. The reverse returns to Stuart Devlin's enduring platypus design, swimming amid curved water lines, the bold 20 centered above, and SD initials discreetly by the paw. In peak form, the coin glows with crisp platypus details, sharp queen's features, and that unmistakable mint frost across open areas. Mintage for the standard circulation strike landed around 24.4 million, enough to make worn pocket pieces common, and worth only face value or a small premium in nicer circulated grades. Commemorative releases tied to the Anzac centenary, like the Anzacs Remembered series, with themed reverses honoring nurses, mateship, and other WWWI elements, add variety, but still saw solid numbers in some cases. Proofs from special sets bring enhanced sharpness and contrast, yet the pathway to standout money comes through exceptional preservation or genuine minting surprises. Uncirculated examples begin to show promise right away. MS63 to MS64 trade in the $3 to $10 range, offering decent eye appeal with tolerable marks. Gem, MS65 to MS66 push values upward as bag-free surfaces, vibrant luster, and complete detail retention become evident under scrutiny. The pinnacle grades, MS67 and beyond, prove extremely elusive for this date, with population trackers revealing tiny survivor counts that ignite bidding wars among quality-driven collectors and set finishers. Proof versions peak in PR69 to PR70, where flawless fields and pronounced cameo frosting reward their limited production and careful origins. Errors and varieties fuel the biggest excitement for 2015. While lacking a single iconic named variety, this year produces eye-catching mint mistakes that error enthusiasts chase hard. Look for off-center strikes, shifting the entire motif off balance. Broad strikes, flattening and enlarging the coin. Clipped planchets carving smooth arcs from the rim. Partial collars leaving irregular raised edges. Die cracks raising thin lines across the platypus or portrait, or struck through grease/oil, erasing portions of the design for a ghostly blank effect. Rotated dies misaligning sides by degrees, or double strikes with overlapping ghosts appear sporadically too. When these errors land dramatically, yet remain well-defined and unworn, they leap into high-demand territory. Certified dramatic examples often command multiples of standard prices because they're one-in-millions flukes. Demand stays robust thanks to the date's recency. Fresh pieces still surface in unsearched change, rolls, or inherited stashes, combined with growing interest in modern Australian decimals and error sets. As more get graded and preserved, top examples grow scarcer, supporting upward trends. These coins suit collectors who enjoy the thrill of possibility in near-contemporary finds, while offering tangible diversification with proven appreciation potential over time. The market today shows clear tiers. Circulated or basic uncirculated hold low single digits to low tens. Proofs and nicer gems climb into the hundreds for the best. And truly remarkable errors or record condition pieces reach elite levels. In fact, the most outstanding 2015 Australian 20-cent coins, dramatic mint errors preserved superbly or hitting benchmark high grades, have fetched auction prices as high as $12,300, turning routine decimal coinage into an impressive return story. Next up, let's dive straight into a date that's still circulating widely but quietly building a reputation for turning up some of the most exciting modern surprises, the 2020 Australian 20-cent coin. With its mix of standard strikes, special commemoratives, and those rare production glitches that slip through quality control, this year offers real potential for anyone willing to look twice. On the Coin Studio, we're spotlighting exactly why 2020 pieces deserve a thorough check right now. The Royal Australian Mint produced these in Canberra, no mint mark in sight. Composition holds steady at 75% copper and 25% nickel for that bright, hard-wearing silver appearance, with the familiar 11.31 gram weight, 28.65 millimeters diameter, and reeded edge. The obverse shows the sixth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Jody Clark, a fresh contemporary take encircled by Elizabeth II Australia, 2020. The standard reverse features Stuart Devlin's platypus design, gliding through water with the large 20 above and SD initials near the paw. Special releases from 2020 include the high-voltage AC/DC tribute coins with band-themed reverses, adding colorful or etched variants that stand out for music collectors. Mintage for the regular platypus type reached about 24.75 million. Plenty to keep circulated examples common at face value or low single dollars in better worn condition. Commemorative types like the AC/DC series had smaller but still substantial runs, often in uncirculated rolls or sets. Proof strikes deliver enhanced detail and contrast from collector packaging, but the path to standout value runs through top preservation or genuine minting anomalies. Uncirculated coins gain ground fast in this era. MS63 to MS64 examples might sell for $5 to $15, with acceptable luster and light contact. Gem MS65 to MS66 levels rise noticeably for cleaner surfaces, stronger cartwheel effect, and sharp details that pop under light. The highest grades, MS67 and up, prove tough to find, with population data showing limited survivors that spark strong interest from modern set builders and quality investors. Proofs reach their best in PR69 to PR70, where deep mirrors, heavy frost, and zero flaws support premiums tied to limited issuance and protected origins. The real adrenaline comes from errors that make 2020 memorable. No dominant single variety rules the year, but dramatic mistakes emerge now and then. Off-center strikes push the design off-kilter toward the rim. Broad strikes spread the coin wider than intended. Clipped planchets carve smooth curves from the edge. Die clashes leave faint ghost impressions from opposing dies. Struck through grease or oil blanks out sections of the platypus, lettering, or special designs. Cud breaks raise blobs from chipped dies, while doubling shows extra outlines on waves, letters, or the Queen's portrait. When these errors are pronounced, well-positioned, and remain in high grade without wear, they attract fierce demand from error specialists. Authenticated dramatic pieces often multiply value significantly because they're rare escapes from tight modern mint standards. Interest in 2020 remains strong among collectors of recent decimals, error enthusiasts, and those chasing themed commemoratives like AC/DC tributes. The date's recency means unsearched change. Bankrolls or newer collections can still yield discoveries, while certified top examples lock away supply over time. These offer easy entry for beginners, yet serious ceiling for exceptional finds, combining fun hunting with tangible asset benefits like portability and inflation, beating history. Market levels illustrate the range. Basic circulated or uncirculated sight low, nicer gems and proofs climb into the tens or low hundreds, and elite errors deliver major jumps. In fact, the pinnacle 2020 Australian 20-cent coins, those with striking mint errors in outstanding condition or record-high grades, have achieved auction prices ranging from $16,000 to $20,000, highlighting the huge upside possible from what looks like ordinary recent change. Here's your cue to act. Gather up any 2020 20-cent coins from pockets, jars, or drawers. Inspect under strong light. Tilt to reveal off-centers or broad spreads. Trace the rim for clips, Hunt for raised cuds or ghost doublings. Scan for grease-blanked areas or clash marks, and evaluate overall detail for grade potential. A single overlooked error or pristine standout could deliver a game-changing result. Keep scanning, keep learning the signs, and come back to the Coin Studio for more on coins with exciting hidden rewards. If this one has you reaching for your change already, like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and get examining. Your next remarkable discovery might be right there. Thanks for joining me.